Hello, everyone. The universe, does it have a limit? Does it have an edge? Well, if it does, we haven't been able to found it yet. When you have a telescope at home and you have a really dark sky outside from the big cities, and you point your telescope to the sky, you see multiple stars. Even with a very small, cheap telescope, if you have a really dark sky, you can see a great amount of stars all around us. If you go to a bigger telescope, still something you can have at home, you can see even more. And then if you have an even bigger telescope like those in the universities, you can see more stars and more galaxies. And then if you have another big telescope in a big desert like in Chile, and then you have all the skies because you have a really dark sky outside of the big city, you can see even more galaxies and more stars. So the James Webb Telescope, which is in space, is the best telescope humanity ever made, ever. So this telescope is in a Lagrangian point in space, and it's outside of the Earth, so it doesn't have the problem of atmospheric conditions, which the atmosphere can be a problem when looking at things in space, because the light of those stars and galaxies have to pass through the atmosphere before reaching the telescope, and the atmosphere doesn't make it as clear as a telescope that is in space outside of that. So that's why we put telescopes in space, so it will have a more clear view of the cosmos. But there's also cosmic dust in our galaxy. So even though in space the images can be clear, it would be even more clear if we didn't have dust in space. But the amount of dust in space can be neglected, or maybe we shouldn't. But at least putting a telescope in space is better than having it on Earth. But the James Webb Telescope has discovered even more galaxies, even more stars, even more galaxies. And funny as it may seem, the bigger the telescope, the deeper we can peer into the cosmos, but we are unable to see its end or its edge. That's a problem. Or maybe not. What would you prefer? Finding or discovering the edge of the universe and saying from that point onward there's nothing? Oh man, I'm going to be claustrophobic, because I live in a universe, and that's the wall, and there's nothing beyond that point. And we're in that, even though it's a huge universe, just the fact of seeing the edge of it makes me think, really, there's nothing beyond that point. But from here to the edge, it's still a lot of galaxies, trillions of them, and stars and planets of all kinds. Well, philosophically, does it make sense that there is an edge for the universe? If the universe is everything that there is, does it make more sense that it's infinite? Well, but then people may argue, if the universe is infinite, then the Big Bang never happened, because a Big Bang can only form a finite rather than an infinite universe. Because in the Big Bang, everything was compressed into a cosmic seed, and then it expanded. So nothing that was the size of a cosmic seed and expanded will be infinite. It will be finite instead. Unless we live in a multiverse, like several universes. But philosophically, does it make sense that the universe has an edge? Like all that there is in existence and nothing beyond that point. I don't think, well, in philosophy we can argue several points of view. But on my opinion, it would not make sense for us to see the edge. But on the other hand, in my opinion, a Big Bang possibly happen, or most likely happen. But then there's many questions unanswered about the cosmos. But all I can say is this: we haven't seen the edge yet. Until we see the edge, there's no edge. Because that's how it goes. If you cannot see the edge, you cannot claim that there is an edge. Because part of science is not just making predictions, but also fulfilling your beliefs through observation. We haven't seen an edge for the universe. And we talk about this missing matter, this dark matter. What if this missing matter is matter that is not invisible? It's just hard to detect through our current technology, but it's still there.